Hey everyone, Codeth here. We just got a sneak peek at some of the changes coming into Diablo 4's next season and first expansion, Vessel of Hatred Season 6. So that includes leveling adjustments, new difficulty system, Paragon updates, item quality rework, new class skills and passives, Runewords, and a party finder. So I'm going to try to keep this brief because I know a lot of us are short on time. I'm just going to go over the base details here. So September 4th to 11th, that is when the PTR is occurring, so it starts next Wednesday until Wednesday. And let's scroll down here. So leveling adjustments. Characters are now going to be capped at level 60. So that means you're going to get 10 additional skill points on your characters. So at level 60, you'll start to earn Paragon points. Currently, there's 200 Paragon points. It's going to be adjusted to 300 Paragon points total. Characters above level 50 will have all their experience-based Paragon points converted to a Paragon level. There's a stat adjustment here. In addition to splitting out character and Paragon levels, we're revisiting stats like health, armor, and core stats. So there's also, I don't see it mentioned here, but there's going to be a stat squish. So you're not going to see like Barbarian damage anymore. But yeah, cool stuff. Here's the new difficulty system. There's normal, hard, expert, penitent. So normal's first, like a slower pace, like casual, lighter challenge, hard and expert, increased challenge, and then penitent is going to be like the most difficult out of the four here. Penitent, I believe you unlock at level 50. Yeah, level 50 for that. And then once you're done with that, you get Torment. Torment 1 to 4. So Torment is going to be unlocked by doing pit runs now. So reaching level 60 unlocks the pit and tiers 1 through 20 of it. Beating pit tier 20 unlocks Torment tier 1. So once you get 60, you get the pit, clear pit tier 20. That's essentially your new capstone. That's going to get you to Torment 1. So Torment 1, that's when ancestral items are going to be dropping. There's going to be no more sacreds. But if you want ancestral items, it's going to start at Torment 1 for you. I believe this is going to be equivalent to tier 3, essentially, in difficulty, I believe. Let's move on here. So beating pit tier 35 unlocks Torment 2. Tier 50 unlocks tier 3. 65 unlocks tier 4, or Torment 4. They also, the Torment difficulties come with caveats. There's negative armor and negative res to all of them. Monsters will no longer have levels displayed. Will scale to the difficulty you're playing on. So they also mention, like, bosses, for example. If you're doing bosses, you can do increased difficulty for increased rewards and increased challenge. They're all going to require the same amount of materials to summon, though. Paragon updates. So one change that I remember from the campfire talk, boards are going to be capped at 5. So no more like 8 glyphs, Okay, so glyphs have undergone metamorphosis to better meld with other changes we've made. Upgrading a glyph no longer is driven by experience. Instead, you're given attempts to increase your glyph's rank by completing pit tiers. So they're switching stuff around, kind of. So for leveling your glyphs, you're going to want to do pit runs. So kind of like how AOZ was in Season 2, you do like a higher tier pit. You could probably upgrade that glyph like a lot. But your masterworking materials are going to be found in Nightmare Dungeons. Not just the end of the Nightmare Dungeon, though. You're going to find those materials just like killing monsters like elites and stuff too, and opening chests. So a little bit more of an incentive to clear everything in the dungeon instead of just like rushing to the end for the glyph. 3 attempts to upgrade your glyph's rank are rewarded for successfully completing the Artificer's Mastery and a bonus attempt for not dying. Each upgrade attempt can be used to increase any glyph that isn't already at max level. Chance to upgrade a glyph is based on your level of the glyph and the tier of the pit you complete. For example, completing a pit that is 10 higher than your glyph's rank guarantees an upgrade rank. Okay, so it's going to be like it's multiple ranks at a time, it looks like. But going on to the Paragon boards here, here's an image. Let's open this link here. This is what the new Paragon boards look like. This looks interesting. It doesn't look any of these are attached together. Oh, but these are the different boards coming to the new classes, I think. There's a Barbarian, Druid, Necro, Rogue, Sork. Okay, it looks like It's a little different here. Yeah, each class has received 1 new Paragon board. These Paragon boards each come with a new legendary node as well. Additionally, only 5 Paragon boards can be equipped, including your starting board. So 5 in total. Yeah, so you increase Paragon level from 200 to 300. So other thing, I don't know if they're going to touch on this later, but there's a new glyph system as well. There's going to be legendary glyphs. So if you upgrade your glyph, which is like this one, not the legendary node, but the glyph. If you upgrade this to 15, you know it's going to increase the radius by 1. There's going to be one more radius to upgrade that by. It's level 46. 46 on here, because these glyphs are going to be able to get leveled up to 100 now. If you increase the radius to, or increase the level to 46, it's going to turn it into a legendary glyph, which will also give it an additional stat that's multiplicative, and it'll increase the radius again. So that's going to switch up a lot of how we make these Paragon boards for sure. Item quality rework. So sacred items are no more. Yeah, ancestral items start dropping in tier 1. They're always going to be 800 item power, the highest possible. So we're going from 925 to 800. Greater affix only appear on ancestral items, and ancestral items guaranteed to at least have 1 greater affix. So that's going to be cool. I'm excited for that change at least. And then you see this legendary ring. There's no more sacreds. This is like a regular legendary. This is 750 item power, as you can see here in this image. Sacred items no longer drop. Non-ancestral items are capped at 750 for item power. So here's new skills for every class. 1 new skill for each class. So Barbarian's getting a throw attack. So if you guys remembered Diablo 2, throw barbs were a thing. It was kind of cool. But yeah, look, we got a mighty throw. Hurl your weapon, dealing 60% weapon damage upon impact and sticking to the ground. While in the ground, your weapon pulses and deals 20% weapon damage every second for 4 seconds. So you can kind of see that in action right here. See if I can blow this up for you. Yeah, see there it is pulsing right there. There's a throw. So this is a 12-second cooldown. It's not going to be like a core skill. They can keep casting though. They can probably get the cooldown pretty low. Here's Enhanced Mighty Throw. While a thrown weapon is out, gain 25% increased attack speed. That's nice. Nice little additive right there. Then you have your choice between fighters and warriors. Fighters, swapping weapons near any of your thrown weapons creates an additional pulse. Each extra pulse generates 3% of your maximum life as a barrier for 5 seconds. Or a Mighty Throw's impact deals 200x multiplicative increased damage and stuns enemies for 2 seconds. That sounds pretty nice. And moving on to Druid, we've got a new Stone Burst ability. Gather stones. Oh, this is a Earth Core skill. Spirit cost is 30. Gather stones beneath your enemies, then detonate them, dealing 80% weapon damage. Channeling deals 20% weapon damage and increases the size of the affected area up to a 400% increase after 1 second. So this is kind of what it looks like here. You see him channeling it for longer. And you don't have to keep channeling it. You can like spam it too. I don't know if they show it on this GIF here. It doesn't look like it. But you can also just like click it and not have to like channel it the whole time. Enhanced. Stone Burst final explosion damage is increased by 25% X within the initial radius. Then you've got your choice of Primal and Raging. Primal, while channeling Stone Burst, and for 2 seconds after it ends, gain increased attack speed. 30%, it's nice. Or Stone Burst costs 66% more spirit, and its final explosion deals 50x more damage. Attack speed sounds interesting. Alright, and we got Necromancer. Here's the new skill. It's an ultimate. Soul Rift, 50-second cooldown. Corrupt nearby enemies for 8 seconds, dealing 65% weapon damage per second. Every quarter second, rip out and absorb the soul of your enemy, generating 2 essence and granting a barrier for 2% of your maximum life for 5 seconds. So this will help you get some barrier and damage reduction, or barrier and life. It's pretty cool. This is what it looks like. You can see them absorbing the souls right there. It's a cool necro ability. You got Supreme. Oh, that's another thing. So ultimates will now be able to be leveled up. Instead of just 1 rank, you can have up to 5, which will increase the damage and lower the cooldown with each rank. So Supreme Soul Rift, every soul absorbed increases your damage by 1% up to 30%. This bonus damage persists for 5 seconds after Soul Rift ends, and then Prime. Enemies with their souls ripped out become vulnerable for 2 seconds. Damaging enemies affected by Soul Rift have a 5% chance for their souls to be ripped out and absorbed. Pretty cool. A Rogue's got a new Cutthroat ability. Dance of Knives. It's got 6 charges, 1 second charge cooldown. That's what it looks like. Kind of like a Whirlwind almost. Like a Rogue's version of Whirlwind, but they're like throwing out knives. Pretty cool. So while channeling, it's a channeling. Gain 20% increased movement speed, 10% increased dodge chance, and launch knives at nearby enemies. Each dealing 42% weapon damage. And then you got enhanced. Moving 30 meters while channeling Dance of Knives grants 4 charges. Then you have your choice of methodical or disciplined. Methodical. When you stop channeling Dance of Knives, drop up to 12 stun grenades, each dealing 20% weapon damage. The channeled duration determines how many are dropped. So if you channel it for longer, you're going to have more stun grenades. Or you got disciplined. Dance of Knives slows enemies hit by 25% for 3 seconds. Each knife has a 20% chance to pierce the enemy. And we got Sorcerer here. There's a new ultimate as well. Oh, it's a Conjuration skill. My mistake. So Familiar. Conjuration skill, 3 charges, 12-second charge cooldown. You summon a familiar of the element of your last cast skill for 8 seconds. The familiar chases enemies and periodically explodes, dealing 40% of its elemental damage in an area. So if you cast like Ice Armor, that counts as a ice skill. So your last skill cast, that would summon the Ice Conjuration. So this is what it looks like right here. Yeah, more conjurations to mess with. Should be a lot of fun. You got Enhanced Familiar. So Familiar passively applies an effect to nearby enemies based on their element. So Fire applies burning damage, Cold applies chill, Lightning stuns enemies for 1 second. Summoned Familiar. So you have Summoned Familiar and Invoked. So Summoned, while you have 2 or more different elements, Familiar summoned gain 3% damage reduction. Familiar element is no longer tied to your previous cast skill. Instead, the familiar element progresses in sequence. The sequence is fire to cold, cold to lightning, and lightning to fire. That's pretty cool. Or you get invoked while the familiar is active, gain 10% increased damage to skills that deal its damage type. So that's a multiplicative damage increase right there. That's cool as well. So you got 5 new passives for each class as well coming out. So Barbarian, you got Belligerence. Damaging an enemy with a basic skill increases your damage by 3, 6, 9% for 4 seconds. Heavy Hitter, ultimate skills deal increased damage, 15, 30, 45. Warpath, after overpowering, you deal 4% increased damage for 4 seconds. Kind of cool. Irresponsible, casting a weapon mastery skill fortifies you for 10% of your maximum life. Barbed Carapace, that's a new key passive. For every 25 fury you spend, you gain 10% thorns for 8 seconds, up to 120%. Casting a skill with a cooldown grants you unhindered for 5 seconds. During this time, you deal 100% of your thorns as physical damage to close enemies every second. So you're going to be like pulsing thorns. That sounds kind of cool. Druid. You've got Humanity. You deal increased damage while in human form. 5, 10, 15x. Catastrophe. You deal more damage after 8 seconds after casting an ultimate. It's also 5, 10, 15x. Feral Aptitude. You deal increased damage while healthy and increased damage while above 100% movement speed. These bonuses can stack. That's cool. Backlash. You deal increased damage for 5 seconds after casting defensive skill, 4%. One with Nature. It's a new key passive. This is more for companions. Your companion skills each gain 1 additional companion and deal 50x increased damage. Gain the passive effect of Ravens, Wolves, and Poison Creeper. That's pretty cool. Might need to try a companion druid. And on to the Necromancer. Necrotic Fortitude. Lucky hit. Your damage has up to a 5, 10, or 15% chance to grant a barrier for 5% of your maximum life for 6 seconds. Finality. You deal increased damage for 8 seconds after casting an ultimate skill. So similar to the Druids, 5, 10, 15. Titan's Fall. While fortified, you deal increased damage to elites, 6, 12, and 18%. Precision Decay. Your lucky hit chances increased 5, 10, 15%. Additive. Affliction. This is a new key passive from Necromancer. Enemies affected by vulnerable, crowd control, or shadow damage over time are infected with affliction and take 15x increased damage from you and your minions. Your curse skills deal 80% weapon damage, shadow damage to enemies that have affliction. This amount increases by 30% of your damage to crowd controlled, vulnerable, shadow damage over time combined. This seems like a really cool key passive. It makes me think of Affliction Warlocks in WoW. That has a cool increased damage. Really nice. Rogue. You got Target Practice. Your crit chance with Marksman and Cutthroat skills is increased by 3, 6, 9%. Ballastra. Gain 4, 8, 12% increased damage for 4 seconds after using Evade. Evasive. After dodging an attack, you gain damage reduction for 4 seconds. So 2, 4, 6. Unto Dawn. Your ultimate skills deal increased damage. So seems like a similar theme here. 15, 30, 45%. Yeah, big buff to ultimates. Looks like you're getting passives to increase the damage, and you're able to like spec into them to increase the damage and lower the cooldown. Alchemical Advantage, or Admixture. Here's the new key passive. Dealing 3 different types of non-physical damage increases the potency of your imbuement skills by 40% for 5 seconds. This potency is further increased by 20% of the total amount of your bonus damage to Poison, Cold, Shadow. So those are the 3 types that the Rogue has: Poison, Cold, and Shadow. Sorcerer. Evocation. Gain 4% cooldown reduction. I'm cool if you can spec into that and get cooldown reduction. I'm down. Energy Focus. You generate 6-second barrier for 0.5, 1 second, 1.5% of your maximum life every second up to 30%. This effect is lost for 5 seconds after losing health. So that's cool. As long as you don't take HP or take damage or lose your health, you'll have this barrier. Dampen Layer. You gain damage reduction while you have an active barrier. Yes. 6%? Okay. Elemental Synergies. Your Frost Shock Pyromancy skill damage is increased by 1, 2, 3x for each skill you have equipped of that type. Okay. Multiplicative. Enlightenment Key Passive. Casting any skill. Here's the key passive. Casting any skill grants 1 stack of Enlightenment or grants 15 of your previous cast skill was a different element. After gaining 100 stacks, you become enlightened, can no longer gain stacks, and lose 10 stacks per second. While enlightened, your bonus damage with fire, lightning, and cold are equal to them combined, and you gain 25% increased damage, 45% increased mana regen, and 20% increased attack speed. This one seems pretty cool. If you can keep getting your stacks, if you can keep building these stacks like relatively fast. Yeah, cast a skill, you get 1 stack. Or if it's a different element, you get like 15 stacks. Yeah, because you can't gain stacks while you're enlightened. So you'd be losing 10 stacks per second, it looks like. So you'll have this up for 10 seconds, this buff here. Yeah, this could be really good, though. It's very interesting. And then the new mechanic here, Runewords are coming in. It's not going to be like the same as Diablo 2, but it's cool that they're bringing in Runewords. So my understanding of this is there's a causing rune and there's an effect rune. So the cause, you travel 5 meters. Yes. Or ritual. I guess it's a rune of ritual. So this is a requirement to trigger the other rune. So back, you travel 5 meters. And jaw, this will be what happens after you meet this requirement here. So it would replace your next evade with the teleporters or sorcerer's teleport, blinking further, dealing damage, and becoming unstoppable. So the jaw from Diablo 2, the Enigma, makes its return here. Yeah, so the runes, yeah, specify actions you must take to trigger them. And then you got your action as well. So trigger and then action. Yeah, let's scroll down here. So I saw that runes can be socketed in... Here we go, right here. Socketed in 2 sockets, such as chest, leg, 2-handed weapon slots. Helmet slot has also received an additional socket, can now house a rune word. So you got chest, legs, 2-handed weapon slots, and helmets. Runes come in 3 rarities: magic, rare, legendaries. They can also be traded as well, so I can see there's going to be a market for these runes, like how we had in Diablo 2. That might be like a part of a currency that we're going to be trading. I saw the runes are also, you're going to be able to get them to drop, but if you want to target them, you're going to go into the Undercity, I believe. Runewords can give you access to skills from other classes. It can deal with things like temporarily increase your movement speed, 17 runes of ritual, 28 runes of invocation. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. So here's the ritual runes. I'm not going to go over all of these, but yeah, you can kind of see some examples here. So this one is cast the same non-channeled skill 3 times in a row, you get 25 offering. And you look at one of these, for example. Let's look at, I guess this first one. Evoke Barbarian's Challenging Shout, reducing your damage taken. Requires 800 offering. So you can see this gives you 25. You'd have to meet the requirements of getting 800 to proc that Barbarian Shout. So 25 offering with this one. So that's kind of how it would work here. I'm going to do like a bunch of like theory crafting and figure out what to do with all these different runes here. There's some cool stuff, a lot of like out of class stuff. Like the Barbarian Shout seems really cool. Decrepify seems cool too, because you can like, yeah, slow enemies, reduce their damage. So there's a source of damage reduction right there. There's a crowd control, letting you execute them. It seems really cool to Decrepify. But let's keep this brief here. So they're tradable. They stack and be stored with the new socketable inventory tab. So here's the new socket tab right here. If you look on the right. And you can craft them as well. So maximum of 2 Runewords can be equipped, 4 runes total. So you'd have your pick. Only 2 Runewords though. Same rune cannot be equipped twice. So you can't do like double teleport or double decrepify. You can use 3 runes with the same name to craft a new rune. The rune created from crafting is guaranteed to be different than the ones used. When non-legendary runes are used to craft, there's a chance to create a rune of the next highest rarity. So kind of like in Diablo 2 where you'd cube 3 runes and it would give you the next one. This will just give you like a random one, it sounds like. Runes can also be used to craft mythics at the jeweler. Each one requires 1 spark, 10 legendary runes of a specific name, 10 rare runes of a specific name, and 10 magic runes of a specific name to craft. So you're going to need 30 runes in total, it looks like, plus a spark. So it might be like Shaco requires, I don't know, like 10 jaws. I don't know like the names, but like 10 vexes and 10 ohms or something, just like quoting Diablo 2's runes. It'd be something like that. How to obtain runes. So runes of any variety can be acquired throughout Sanctuary as a monster drop. You get 2 caches in the PTR. Yeah, it'll be cool. And there's going to be a party finder. There's a party finder coming in we get to test out. So that'll be interesting. Now, a lot of people were looking for that. And yeah, I'm not going to go over... Well, actually, I can go over this here too. So you got Mythic Uniques coming out. There's a new Mythic Helmet. Affixes inherit 200% damage to angels and demons. You get 20% crit chance, 20% lucky hit, 20% movement, and 2 decor skills. And you got a power here. Succumb to hatred and earn Mother's Favor, increasing your damage dealt by 60%. Briefly steal Mother's Favor from nearby allies by slaughtering enemies. So 60% increased damage, that's kind of nice. It's multiplicative too. I'm wondering what this is alluding to though. Damage to angels and demons, it's interesting. But yeah, that is a mythic helmet. And we got a unique chest armor, another mythic here. Shroud of False Death. Inherent 1 to all passives, that's kind of cool. I like that. You get all stats, life, increased damage on next attack after entering stealth, and resource gen. The power is, if you haven't attacked in the last 2 seconds, you gain stealth and movement speed. And then lastly, you've got a pole arm. Mythic unique pole arm. You get 400% damage to healthy enemies. You get life, attack speed while berserking, increased damage over time, lucky hit chance to become berserking, and power is execute enemies afflicted by more damage over time than life remaining. That's pretty useful. And we got new tempers. You get basic skill damage, core damage, and ultimate skill damage. Yeah, sharpened finesse. Yeah, a lot of these are going to be the rest of the class changes. I'll let you guys go over it at your leisure. Let me scroll past this. There's some more stuff here too. Ultimate skills can now have additional ranks. Players can invest up to 5 skill points into their ultimate skill. And bonus ranks of ultimate skills now exist. So Shaco. Shaco's going to help with that. Yeah, bonus to skill ranks from Harlequin Crest. Only grants rank if the ultimate player, or with ultimate, the player has learned. So you can't get multiple ultimates. Only the one that you spec into. Life generation affixes now trigger while at full life to contribute to overhealing effects. All weapon tempering affixes now grant multiplicative damage. All classes now have innate 15% blocked damage reduction. Kind of cool. And you got some changes to, some more class changes here. I'm gonna go over these on stream, like in more depth, but I just wanted to do this like quick video for you guys. Yeah, a lot of changes here. A lot of changes on the skills and the Paragon and the legendary aspects as well. Shrine updates. Here we go. The following shrines now scale off weapon damage, similar to skills. Artillery, Blast Wave, Conduit. Loot updates. All unique items now have a single boss for targeting items. So you know how you can get... Let's use... Esus, for example. Esus you can get from Beast in the Ice and Varshan. They're removing it from Varshan, or Beast in the Ice, so you can only get Esus, for example, from Varshan now, looks like. So it'll be one boss for one item, essentially. You're not going to be like multiple on different bosses, you know? Got user interface and user experience changes here. Favorite in mark item as junk has been reversed. What else was there? Hybrid targeting. Oh, here you go. A lot of people are asking for this change. You can now enable hybrid targeting, new feature that allows for proximity selection of interactables to be used when mouse movement is disabled. This is meant to assist with item selection instances where the cursor targeting could provide challenging. So something make it easier to loot. Character slots increasing from 12 to 13. Dodge chance can no longer reach 100%. Gauntlet disabled for Season 6. You know, there's some stuff with that they're working out. Fixed an issue where items couldn't be undroppable after interacting with the stash while sitting on a chair. Interesting. Well, that is that's the gist of it in like a quick summed up version as best as I could. If you want more in depth, I'll be streaming this later. We'll go over more depth on this patch notes. But yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe. Take care. Peace.